Welcome to the Planet of Maths channel. Today, we will learn how to calculate absolute value. First, some easy examples. What is the absolute value of 7? The absolute value of 7 is related to the distance on the number line between the number 7 and 0. The number 7 is here, the number 0 is here. The distance of the number 7 from 0, that is 7. Therefore, the result of the absolute value of 7 is the number 7. Now the absolute value of -4. Again, let's look at the number line. The number -4 is here, and the number 0 is here. So the distance of the number -4 from 0 is 4. Therefore, the absolute value of -4 is simply 4. The result cannot be a negative number when calculating the absolute value. When we have a positive number, the absolute value is exactly the same number that was inside. When we have a negative number inside the absolute value, the result is positive. Therefore, the absolute value of -2/5 will be simply positive 2/5. The absolute value of the decimal fraction 1.3. It is a positive fraction, so the result will be that same number, 1.3. This is where the easiest things end. Now it will get a bit harder. If we have the absolute value of an expression like 3 minus the square root of 5, we won't always know if inside we have a positive number or a negative number. First, we need to determine what sign we have here. Does this operation give a positive result, or does it give a negative result? And to do that, we need to compare this number 3 and the square root of 5. One way to compare them is by squaring them, meaning I will square the 3. And I'll square the square root of 5. 3 squared is 9, and the square root of 5 squared gives the result of 5. After squaring, I clearly see that 9 is greater than 5, so 3 will also be greater than the square root of 5. And that means that the number 3 is a large number greater, and this number is smaller. So I subtract a large number minus a small number. The result of this operation will definitely be positive. If I subtract a smaller number from a larger number, I will definitely not go below 0. I already know that inside this absolute value, I have something positive. Now, we need to look at the formula for what is an absolute value. The absolute value of x is equal to x when x is greater than or equal to 0, or minus x when x is less than 0. X meaning what is inside the absolute value, so we always determine whether what's inside the absolute value is positive or negative. If it is positive, we write exactly the same as what was inside. And if the inside is negative, we must write everything with a minus. We'll soon see exactly how this looks in examples. Here, we establish that the middle is positive, so the result of this absolute value will be exactly the same as what was in the middle, which is 3 minus the square root of 5, and that's it. In the second example, we have addition. Such an example will appear very rarely, but I wanted to mention it here. Because in such an example, we don't have to work too hard to know what the sign is. If 2 is a positive number, and so is the square root of 7, it doesn't matter whether it's big or small, it's also positive. So we are adding 2 positive numbers, and the result of this operation also is positive. There's no chance that we would end up with a negative. So in such an example, we're definitely going along the upper part of this branch according to the definition. We know that the middle is positive, therefore the result of the absolute value will be exactly the same as what we had inside. So it will be 2 plus the square root of 7. Nothing changes here because the middle is positive. The third example, the square root of 13 minus 4. Let's see which is larger, the square root of 13 or the number 4. We will do this similarly to how we did in the first example. We will square everything here. The square root of 13 squared and 4 squared. The square of the square root of 13 gives us the result 13. Because the root and the square cancel each other out, and 4 squared is 16. 16 is greater, which indicates to us that 4 will be greater than the square root of 13. So here we have the square root of 13 as a smaller number, and 4 as a large number. We subtract a larger number from a smaller number. In this situation, we get a negative result, and now we will have to use the second part of this branch. We found that what is inside the absolute value is negative. Therefore, we will write in the result what was inside here. But all of this from the middle need to be preceded by a minus. We need to put a minus in front here. And we will also need a parenthesis, that which is inside but with a minus in front, because the inside of the absolute value was negative. And now we only need to drop the parentheses. We drop the parentheses and change the signs. It will be negative square root of 13 plus 4, that's the result. Another example, we consider which is greater, 3 square roots of 7 or 8. We take 3 square roots of 7 and we take 8 and square everything, which is 3 square roots of 7 squared and 8 squared. Here, you need to raise 3 to the power of 2. 3 squared is 9, and we'll need to multiply that by the result of the square root of 7 raised to the power of 2. The square root of 7 squared gives a result of 7, and 8 squared gives a result of 64. 9 times 7 is 63, and 64 is 64. And now we can see that here it is more. 64 is greater than 63. This means that the number 8 is greater than 3 square roots of 7. 3 times the square root of 7 is, according to our calculations, a smaller number, and 8 is a larger number. We subtract the larger number from the smaller number. In that case, we will go below 0 here. We will have a negative result. And since that's the case, we write down this middle part. 3 times the square root of 7 minus 8. Since the inside of the absolute value was negative, we must also have a negative result here. Everything will be with a minus. We drop the parentheses and get minus 3 square roots of 7 plus 8. And the last example, we have to evaluate which number is greater, 4 square roots of 3 or 3 square roots of 5. So we take both these numbers and square them. Squaring works so that we need to square the 4 and we need to square the square root of 3. 4 squared is 16, and the square root of 3 squared is 3. From this, after multiplication, we get 48, and on this side, we have 3 squared, which is 9. Multiplied by the square root of 5, we also need to square it. That will be 5. 9 times 5 is 45. 48 is more than 45, and that means 4 square roots of 3 are greater than 3 square roots of 5. In our example, it will be like this. Here we have a large number. 4 square roots of 3 are greater, and 3 square roots of 5 are smaller. We subtract a large number minus a small number gives us a positive result. And since it is a positive result, we proceed with the upper part of the absolute value branch, which means we rewrite the same as what was in the middle. 4 square roots of 3 minus 3 square roots of 5, and that is the result for this example. And that's all for this video. Thank you for watching, and I invite you to tune in for the next episodes on the Planet of Mass channel.